Welcome to our channel, where we explore the mysterious and scary. Today, we have a special treat for you as we goes into the world of terrifying tales. These spine-chilling stories will keep you up at night and make you question what lurks in the shadows. Our first stories begin. Our house has 2 stories and a basement. Playing video games one day in the basement. My mother was in her second-floor room. My mother abruptly entered the basement and asked if I had opened the door for a white woman since she was sitting on the couch in our living room. I then informed my mother that I had forgotten. My mother will see the white woman today because she is her new case manager. I overlooked the appointment. However, my mother and I both said that we didn't open the door for anyone. There were only 2 of us in the house that morning, so who did? We climbed the stairs to the first floor and greeted the white woman. When the door was opened for her, we asked her who it was. She claimed that a young boy had already opened the door for her while she was waiting on the couch. She replied that the young boy opened the door for her and then closed it after entering a room when we asked her about the young boy. She pointed to a door that leads to a small storage room or closet when we inquired which room it was. We opened it when it wasn't occupied with my mother and I. The white woman fled silently after becoming alarmed at what she saw. My mother then received a new case manager. We don't know what happened to the new case manager. It's peculiar. I remember a time when this happened. My grandpa and I were returning from the store one day, and I recollect walking in front to open the door. My grandfather, who used a cane to walk, was following me. I went to put the grocery in the dining, and I heard something at the door. When I turned around to take another look, I noticed my grandpa rushing across the room as if he were about to collapse. He went to the door with the stairway leading to the basement. In the basement, my grandfather had a fall. When I got to him, my grandpa already blacked out. I asked him if he remembered what happened when he woke up, and he replied that he saw a young boy push him as soon as he entered the house. Our grandfather was taken to the hospital by us. After that fall, he was never able to leave the hospital and ultimately passed away. He is already a very old man. Consider falling into the cellar. My grandfather was only supposedly seeing things, I assumed. Then I didn't think he was real. Now, though, I think our home is home to a young boy, but he never takes any action to frighten us. Now to our second scary stories. I moved into an apartment with my cousin Jim, his girlfriend, and her younger sister Jenny while attending Fresno State. Since the apartment only had 2 bedrooms, Jim and his girlfriend occupied one, and Jenny occupied the other. I therefore spend the night in the living room because I only travel there for school and return on Friday. When I first arrived, Jim was leaving for work. Jenny is already at work, and neither he nor his girlfriend will return until close to 11 o'clock. I can still recall how uneasy I felt in that apartment after Jim left. It was like I wasn't alone there. It's one of those apartments with the tall oak trees surrounding it, so the interior is somewhat dark. 2 cabinets were open when I entered the kitchen. I can still remember that. I figured they might have simply forgotten to shut them, simply closing it with a push. They each return to their homes and turn around 11:00 p.m. Although I was nearly finished, I was still studying for my class. I was doing some research that evening in the living room. Jim and his girlfriend were watching TV in their room. Jenny is inside her bedroom. The only light on is in the living room. The rest are all off. However, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me from the dining room. The dining room was empty when I would occasionally glance there. I turned off the light when I was done studying, and now it is completely dark. On the couch, I curled up and pulled the blanket around me. I heard the cabinets in the dining room and kitchen open as I was just about to nod off. But at this point, I am unable to move. I then heard crawling coming from the dining room in the direction I was facing, and before I knew it, I felt it under my blanket. The blanket is buckling up, as I can see. A weight is pressing down on me. It seems to be a young child. It's not heavy, but once it's on me, I can't move and it's difficult to breathe. I know it was on my chest even though it never emerged from the blanket. I never get to see what that thing looks like. I don't get sat on very frequently. While residing there with them, perhaps just once or twice a week, it started coming almost every night after about a month, at which point I started to feel stronger against it. I can only move a little bit until I hear the cabinet open. My brain is still wide awake even though I can't open my eyes. I tried to wake up and move my body when I heard the cabinet open, but I was unable to. I made an attempt to scream, but I'm unsure if I succeeded. As soon as I felt a hand on my shoulder, I seized it firmly. Jenny was there when I opened my eyes. She admitted to me that she was thirsty and came to get some water when she overheard me groaning. She was simply checking on me to see how I was doing. I confessed to her that I have no idea why I have been repeatedly sat on since moving in. We heard something in the dining room at that precise moment. I pulled out my phone and pointed my flashlight at it. Jenny and I caught a glimpse of an elderly woman's face hiding behind the kitchen island. I dragged my blanket behind me as I followed Jenny to her bedroom as she fled. Since she didn't mind, I'll sleep on the floor in her room since we are both scared. She claimed not to care. I spent that night dozing off on the carpet. I kind of just drive to school every day after that experience. It took me about an hour and 30 minutes to get there because I live in Turlock. Jenny, however, replied that she hasn't heard or experienced anything after that when I texted her about it. Now to our last scary stories. My leukemia diagnosis came when I was a young child. When that occurred, I was 8 years old. The harsh punishments stick in my mind. I became so ill from it that I frequently found myself at the children's hospital. I can still picture the time I woke up at 2 in the morning to find 2 young girls sitting by my bed. They resemble one another. When I opened my eyes, the 2 girls had fled and were leaving through the door. When I turned to look at my mother, she was on the couch in my hospital room, dozing off on her side. I slowly stood up and left the room, following the 2 young girls. They are laughing and running in front of me as I speak. They were sticking their heads out of one of the rooms toward the end of the hallway as I continued to follow them. They were still having fun and laughing. The 2 girls' room was number 27, which I discovered as I neared the end of the hallway. After room 27, the hallway continued for a few more rooms. There is an elevator at the end. When I entered room 27, I noticed a sizable dark figure. His entire body is covered in black, including his back and face. The object is hairless. He was holding hands with 2 young ladies who were grinning at me. The shadowy man let go of the girl's hands and slowly walked over to me, placing both of his hands on my shoulders and putting his face very close to mine. He had no mouth, but there was smoke coming from his dark eyes. His 2 hands squeezed my shoulder tighter and tighter, and it begins to hurt, so I scream and woke up. The person who attempted to wake me up was my nurse, who put her hands on my shoulder. She worriedly asked if I was okay after I briefly stopped breathing. I assured her that I'm fine. I woke up at 7 a.m. and heard 2 nurses chatting outside my room. Still sleeping, my mother. The 2 nurses were speaking to each other when I overheard them and learned that the twin girls who were killed along with their parents in a car accident last night had passed away. My entire body started to tingle. It was extremely strange. I know I was just dreaming, but it feels so real when I saw the 2 twins. I was diagnosed with leukemia as a child. However, for us kids, if caught early, we typically recovered from it. I was relieved to be healthy today because I recall how ill I was as a child. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing these stories. Let me know in the comments if you have ever had any such experiences. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel